Neighbors find out terminally ill neighbor was scamming them. Melissa stood frozen in her tracks, soaked in anger and humiliation. How could Tony do this to her? Tony was supposed to be her best friend and neighbor. But not anymore, no way. Melissa felt sick to her stomach. All along, it was lies. Every single word Tony spat out was a lie. Melissa could feel anger boil within, and she knew she had to make Tony pay. She was going to get exactly what was coming to her. When Melissa Cresswell first moved to her new town, just south of Liverpool, England, she was excited about a fresh start. She drove through her new neighborhood and pulled up to her new house, and straight away she felt like she was home. But Melissa had no idea that a so-called friendly neighbor was about to come into her life and turn it upside down forever. Melissa had just finished unpacking her last box, and she let out a sigh of relief knowing she was finally all moved in. She walked around her new home with excitement bursting through her body. Suddenly, she heard a knock at the door. Who could that be? She made her way over and opened the door. As Melissa opened her door, a woman appeared and introduced herself as Tony Standen, a neighbor who lived just opposite. Tony seemed like a nice woman. Melissa invited her in for a cup of tea, and soon enough the two women were laughing and gossiping. But Melissa had no idea what tricks this friendly neighbor had up her sleeve. 6 months passed and Melissa and Tony had become super close, like sisters. They bonded over cups of tea and glasses of wine. Melissa found out that Tony had no children. Her father was, unfortunately, dying of cancer, and she was engaged to a man called Josh, who was just as sweet. For the first time in a long time, Melissa felt like she had real, genuine friends. But she was so wrong. It was a Saturday night and Tony and Melissa were feasting on pizza and sipping on wine when Tony turned to Melissa and said 4 words that left a shiver up her spine. "We need to talk," Tony said, avoiding eye contact with Melissa. Melissa was worried. She could see sadness and fear in Tony's eyes. But what Tony was about to reveal was going to shatter Melissa's world. Tony informed Melissa that she had unfortunately been diagnosed with cancer, and it was terminal, spreading everywhere in her brain and body. Melissa was devastated to hear this, sobbing into Tony's lap. How could she carry on without her best friend? But if only Melissa was aware of her best friend's true colors. As the months passed, Tony's cancer had gotten worse. Melissa knew she had to help Tony out, in whatever way she could. She offered to go to hospital appointments and checks up, but every time she offered, Tony refused instantly, with a look of fear washing over her flustered face. What was going on? With her cancer getting worse, Tony had even started to lose her hair. The clock was ticking, so Tony asked her family and friends, Melissa included, to help out with funding the wedding of her dreams. You see, she also wanted her dad, Derek, who was dying of cancer, to be able to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day before either of them died. It was a story that pulled at everybody's heartstrings. But nobody knew the truth until now. Tony's friends and family all gathered together to raise money for the terminally ill bride. They set up a GoFundMe page, and in the end, they raised a total of $9,000. Melissa could see the look of joy and happiness on Tony's face when she saw just how much had been raised. But this terminally ill woman was hiding a truly unimaginable secret. With the incredible amount raised, Tony was able to have the wedding of her dreams. Unfortunately for her, her father died before the big day, but he left a video message for Tony to be played at her wedding. Guests at the wedding, including Melissa, watched Tony's father's emotional video message. How life could be cruel, Melissa thought. But it was Tony's reaction to this video that made Melissa seriously second-guess the so-called dying bride. Everybody was emotional and in tears watching Tony's father's video message. But instead of Tony getting upset and emotional, she instead burst out in laughter. She even cracked a few jokes. Melissa was lost for words seeing Tony act like that. Maybe she was just grieving? Melissa watched Tony all throughout her big day, and when the day ended, her gut told her something strange was going on. As soon as the wedding was over, Tony and her new husband were supposed to be heading over to Turkey for their honeymoon. Melissa went to wish her good luck, but she walked in on Tony counting cash notes from wedding cards. "Just making sure I've got enough cash," Tony said, with a smirk on her face. Melissa walked over and hugged Tony tight. "Have a good time," she said before waving her off. While Tony was having the time of her life in Turkey, Melissa was determined to get to the bottom of things. Melissa knew something strange was going on. She did some investigating into Tony's background to see if anything looked strange, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. She then thought about researching the type of cancer Tony had, but then it hit Melissa. She didn't even know what cancer she had. Tony had failed to tell her. A shiver ran up Melissa's spine. She couldn't have been faking it all this time, could she? Melissa knew the only way to find out the truth would be to ask Tony directly. After taking a deep breath, Melissa grabbed her cell phone and dialed Tony's number. She waited for Tony to pick up, with hundreds of questions and thoughts flooding her mind. But what Tony was about to reveal was going to leave Melissa's world in pieces. Melissa just asked her straight, "Tony, have you been lying about having cancer?" There was a brief awkward silence, and Melissa could sense Tony on the other line was taken back. Had she been caught out? Melissa's voice spoke through the phone, and then she said, "Yes. It's all been a lie." Melissa couldn't believe it when she found out the truth. How could Tony get away with lying about having cancer? She sure was a fantastic actress. Melissa felt rage in her stomach. How could somebody do something like that? She knew she had to make her pay. She grabbed her phone and pressed 911 into the keyboard. Once Tony was caught out, she was arrested, and then she pleaded guilty to fraud by false representation during a hearing at Chester Magistrates Court. Although she faces sentencing at a later date, Melissa, the woman who uncovered all of her foul lies, is happy she'll be behind bars. "It's the lying and deceitfulness that breaks my heart," she said to a news reporter. "Some people have real problems, and she clearly doesn't. She makes me sick."